and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. So once again, this is another requested video about you guys, and you wanted me to talk more in depth about how to cleanse crystals and how to set your intentions with your crystals. So I swear I had done this, but looking back I was like, I've only like briefly touched upon it. So obviously like my knowledge has like grown since then, and obviously I've learned like new and intriguing ways to cleanse crystals, to work with crystals. So I thought it was about time that we did a whole video about bloody crystals. So as you can see, I have two little selections of crystals here. I've got 1 and 2. I've got another one downstairs. We've got one next to my bed as well. So when everyone was like, can you do a video on your collection of crystals, I was like, how long do you have? Because one, I probably don't know all the names of them because I have that many, and secondly, like there's just so many, like we'd be here hours. So I'm always like happy to talk about the ones here because that's like the generic ones, the ones which I probably have mostly. But yeah, some of the other ones are like quite unique and I'm just like, I've got no idea what they're called. So I first came across crystals quite early on in my spiritual awakening actually. I really loved working with them. They're always so pretty. So a lot of them are decorative for me as well. Like obviously I use them and I love them, but they're decorative as well, of course. So I think as the trend of crystals are growing and growing and growing, more of us are like, how do we actually work with them? So when you buy crystals, it's really important that you cleanse them. Even though like, you know, I stock them in my shop anyway, I cleanse them, but it's really important, you know. I think actually sometimes I don't always cleanse them when I first get them because they feel good and I want to like have that feel good energy first, but obviously once I hold them and I'm like, right, you need a cleanse, it's really important to do that initial cleanse. So if you hold it and you're like, I think it needs a cleanse, you will intuitively know when it needs to be cleansed. So you don't always have to do it like straight away when buying. If it's already been cleansed and it feels good, then stick to that. But yeah, just keep a note of it, keep holding it and just think, oh right, yeah, definitely needs a cleanse. Then that's when you know when to do it. So there is really no right or wrong how often you should do this. Like I said, it's all about holding them and knowing when you need to cleanse them. So there are multiple ways that you can cleanse them. The most traditional or famous ways are through incense. So you can burn some incense sticks and obviously just get your crystal and kind of like wave the incense over it to cleanse it. I personally, that's the first one I tried and I didn't feel it cleared them, if I'm honest. It just didn't feel like they were done. So for me, it just didn't work. But for some people, that will be enough. They'll vibe it. They're like, yeah, that's definitely cleansed. So again, all of what I explained to you, like go and try them all, find out what works for you, see what works for your crystals, because it will be so different for each and every one of us. So this is why there are like so many ways to do it. So incense is number 1. The next one is with the moon phases. So the new moon and full moon. A lot of people like to put their crystals out in the moon to moon bathe, to you know, soak up the moon energy as well as cleansing. So I have put mine out before. I feel they suck in the good energy, but I don't feel they cleanse them personally. So again, I use a different practice. So I actually use water to cleanse mine. So I do put mine out on the moon, but that is to absorb extra energy. That is not to cleanse them. So when I want to cleanse them, I simply run them under running water. So for me, this is the only way I'm like, yeah, this is cleansed. I think because I just feel it, I sense it. So again, any of those practices may have worked before, but for me, it's running water. So for ages, I was told that it had to only be filtered water. It couldn't be like tap water. But recently I was told tap water is fine, and now I've been doing it with tap water and it literally is fine. It is literally just as effective. So I've saved myself a lot of time by waiting for my Brita filter to bloody filter the water, because like you need to like really cleanse them and leave them a long time. So like Brita jugs and bottles of water just aren't convenient or cost effective. So yes, normal tap water is fine, and also seawater is fine as well. So a lot of people use the sea to cleanse crystals. Obviously if you're lucky enough to have a sea right on your doorstep, then try it, have a go. If you've got streams near you as well, or rivers, they might be quite fun. Just don't lose your crystals. But yeah, I just run mine under the running tap and then obviously put them out on the moon, full moon and new moon, to soak up any energy. So again, when you're cleansing them, it really is down to intuition. Like when I'm running them under the water, I just like affirm that all like any negative energy or anything that's no longer serving my crystal runs out. So see that energy just run out of the crystal. And again, intuitively you'll just know. So sometimes I have to really run them under until my hand is like frozen and I'm like, oh my god, my hand hurts. And then I'll be like, right, it's done. And then you'll feel it and you're like, yes, that's done. So intuitively you will know when they need to be cleansed, and intuitively you will know once they've been cleansed by whatever method you use. So again, this is all with intuition. So you can just dry them off afterwards, no matter what, obviously what cleansing you've done, and then set your intentions. Another way to cleanse them supposedly is in the sun. I've heard this a lot of people put them out in the sun. My crystals are in the sun most of the time because of the daylight that comes through the windows. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. Again, I don't really feel that that is enough. I have to do the water. So again, it's what works for you. So if you feel the sun works, if you feel the moon works, if you feel the incense works, then that's fine. But again, I think water is the best. They just feel good, and obviously it's quite a visual thing to see the water kind of, you know, draining the energy away. So once you've cleansed your crystals, so you can obviously do that the first time you've bought your crystals, if you feel intuitively that you need to. If you don't, then just absorb the nice energy that's already been intended in that crystal. Again, there's no right or wrong of how or when to do it. It's all what vibes with you. So you could do it every full moon just as a practice, or every new moon, but again, just hold them, and some of them you'll think, yeah, that needs a cleanse, or others you'll think, no, I'll leave that for a month or whatever, or the next time I hold it. So you will know, you will just know. So actually a really interesting question that came up on my book launch party was, because I put crystals in the goodie bags and I was doing it at the summit as well. A lady asked, but you've just touched the crystal, like, you know, what does that mean for the person who's gonna use it? Now obviously I've touched those crystals a lot, through receiving them through, like, from my wholesaler, obviously putting them into storage, then taking them out and putting them into goodie bags. I've handled them a lot already, but obviously I cleanse them, and you know, all the crystals are cleansed when they arrive to me as well. So they're cleansed when they arrive to me, I cleanse them, and then they arrive double cleansed to you. So it's a really interesting question, because it is like, yeah, what if people touch our crystals? But when you go into a shop, think about how many people have handled those crystals before you anyway, especially like unique pieces rather than like little tumble stones. So even when I go into the crystal shop, I will be touching them and feeling which ones I vibe with. Like, I don't just pick the first one out, I touch a lot of them and see what I vibe with, because the crystal will like pick you essentially, which I love. I love that the crystal's like, pick me, I love you. So you'll get a good sense. So always when you're buying crystals, like, hold them, see if they feel good. If they feel good to you, that is your sign. If they don't, do not buy them. They are not for you. And that's not to say some crystals are better than others, they're all amazing, but some are just designed to work with you, some aren't, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, for instance, I bought a really gorgeous, like, massive fat off crystal quartz, and I was so proud of it. It was such a bargain. It was all real from a lovely crystal shop. Really fast delivery, amazing. I was so pleased, but when I touched it, I was like, this ain't for me. And I was heartbroken because I'd spent so much time finding a really big piece which I loved, that was good value for money, and I just didn't vibe with it. I was like, it's not meant for me. So I just sent good intentions. I was like, thank you for coming into my life. It's been lovely to meet you, but you're not meant for me. You're meant for someone else. So I'm going to send you back. And obviously you can go and help someone else. So yeah, as much as I was like so happy to find that, I knew that that crystal wasn't for me. Like, I just knew it. And I was like, I don't know whether I'm just being like horrible to this crystal. It's come into my life and I'm rejecting it. But I just intuitively knew, and as soon as I sent it back, I felt good. And I think the crystal was like, yeah, it's cool, babes. I'm gonna go help someone else. So yeah, I returned it. So there's like nothing wrong with that. Like, don't feel bad, or like, you know, I just feel guilty. I'm like, I just wish I could have had my life with you, crystal. But yeah, sometimes, like, you know, like, crystals are meant for us, some aren't. So really vibe with what feels good to you. And also, being gifted crystals is a bit of a difficult one as well, because, you know, they might vibe with that person and then they give it to you and you're just like, I really don't vibe it. So cleanse them, but obviously, like, some crystals just aren't meant for us. And it's really funny because crystals will disappear when they've like done their job. Like, I've had it, and I've had it in stock, which is even more annoying because obviously they're not my crystals, they're for my shop. So when you get crystals disappearing, you're like, you're not even meant for me, you're meant for the other people. So that's obviously really annoying. But yeah, my personal collection of crystals, I've had it, crystals would just disappear, I'll lose them, and I'm like, I fucking loved that crystal. Like, I loved that. And you know, once they've done their job, they do go, whether that's through miraculously jumping off the shelf or whatever, or disappearing completely or losing them. It does happen. So it is heartbreaking when it happens. Obviously I hope my bigger pieces don't do that, because they are very big to lose or to just jump off something. But it was really funny because when I had my first crystal sound and Reiki healing session, she put crystals on my back and on my chakras, and the 2 rose quartz like literally went like, I thought she'd thrown them at the wall. I'm not gonna lie. I thought like she was taking them off, and once she was done she was just going like, I'm done. But no, she didn't touch them. They flew off by themselves. So she said like that does happen sometimes, and that's like, she said it was funny that they were both rose quartz, so she was like, obviously your chakras had like absorbed what they needed to, and the crystal was like, right, I'm done, bye. So I thought, I always find that funny. So don't be alarmed if your crystals disappear, do weird shit, or go. Like that's their sign of like, I'm done, I'm an adult now, I'm going into the real world. So setting your intentions for your crystals. So once you've cleansed them, once you've vibed with them, once you're in like, yeah, right, you can obviously Google or look up in a crystal book what each property has. So let's use rose quartz for instance. So rose quartz is the stone of love, the very famous stone of love for invoking self-love and obviously attracting love into your life in all areas. So I got my rock and raw rose quartz necklace a couple of months ago now, and obviously there were intentions set on it. So when they kindly gifted it to me, they did ask, they said, do you want an intention set? So I just put that, you know, lots of love would come into my life in all forms. So that's what I intended for that one. And then obviously like I've set my own intentions once again once I've cleansed it. So you can just hold the crystal and just, you know, look up what your intentions would be, what you can kind of ask for its help with, whether it's love, clarity, anything like that, healing. Loads of crystals do like loads of different stuff. So Google, and like, you know, if you go into crystal shops or even look on my own website, I have put like descriptions of what they do, and most crystal shops will have like little descriptions of their properties, what they can help with. So have a look at that, use that definitely. And then once you kind of like, right, I know what I'm going to ask for, you just hold it in your hand, you just say, thank you crystal for helping me to bring lots of love into my life. And so it is. So exactly like a normal intention, exactly like how you would manifest, you just thank the crystal for its help. First of all, that's really important to like thank the crystal for coming into your life and for its help. And you know, you'd like it to help bring lots of love into your life or lots of healing, whatever, you know, you intended to that crystal. So, you know, finish it off with, and so it is, and that is it. That is as simple as it is. It doesn't need to be any more complicated. And then obviously you can work with your crystals after that to obviously help. So I sleep with crystals underneath my pillow to obviously help with certain things. I obviously wear my rose quartz every day. I have rose quartz, I don't have rose quartz, I have crystal bracelets on depending on what I kind of want help with. So whether it's jewelry, whether it's actual crystals that you like have near your bed or on your altar, or you wear them, you know, there are so many different ways that we can work with crystals in really positive ways. Loads of different crystals that we can work with for different things in our lives. So get researching, find out what will work for you. But I hope this video has helped with the whole cleansing side of things and how to set your intentions, because there's loads of ways to do it all, but it's obviously at the end of the day what vibes for you, what works for you, and what you know feels good for your crystals. So I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. I appreciate all your views and likes. I will link my shop down below as well if you want to go and look at some crystals. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, because I would love to see you again soon. Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comments box down below. Let me know your favorite crystals, what you use them for, and obviously what you do to cleanse your crystals, if you've got any other tips. And also don't forget that my new book Spiritual Queen is out now worldwide, so you can find out all about that in the description box down below as well. So thank you so much guys, and I will see you in my next video, which will be next week. Lots of love guys.